Welcome to the University of Findlay Art and Culture Show. I am your hostess, Sharinda, and we're on a different set today. We're excited to be at the gorgeous Marathon Center for the Performing Arts. And today I have a special guest with me, but I want to tell you how the show is going to be set up. It's going to be a little bit different today. I have the honor of introducing and interviewing the comedians that will be doing the 21st Comedy Jam for the University of Findlay. And in between each interview, we're going to take a break. So we'll have some commercials in today's show. Don't go anywhere. We want you to come back and meet everyone. So for our first interview, I have my dear friend here, Mr. Greg Thompson,
Hello,
the producer.
Yes.
Welcome to the Marathon Center for the Performing Arts.
It's beautiful.
Isn't
This is
it
an
gorgeous?
awesome theater.
It is.
Yeah.
And to the 21st Annual Comedy Jam. 21, we're an adult.
Hey.
Our show is an adult. We finally have
legal.
arrived. We are legal. And we have tried for numerous years to get you for this show. And because you are in demand, you're always on tour, and it's just never worked. And this year with COVID, the students and I were brainstorming, who can we bring in? And I said, shall we give Greg a call? And they were like, yes, and it works.
And that was almost a year ago when you
It
called
was
me.
almost a year ago. Yeah, we planned this way in advance so that we can lock people in.
You have to.
And so you do many things
Yes,
as a professional performer, but for us, for the Comedy Jam, you are going to be our MC,
Yes.
and you are going to share your humor with us.
Yes.
And you often bill yourself as a Southern humorist.
Yes, and I've been going with that for a while, but my wife reminded me I'm not so much a Southern humorist as I am a comedy speaker who is too lazy to write a book. So.
Okay, I gotcha. Because I was going to ask you, what exactly is a Southern humorist?
It's a storyteller.
Now we know.
Yeah.
Now we know.
It's a comedy storyteller is what it is.
And you have studied many of the greats that are unfortunately no longer with us. And some of their material you have adopted to also keep their memories alive.
Yes, and I absolutely give them credit for it. So I don't
And I
try to
always
pretend.
appreciate that about you. That's the integrity that it's important. Keep the history alive, but also who was the first to do it.
That's true. That's very true. I grew up watching these TV shows like the Andy Griffith Show and the Beverly Hillbillies and Hee Haw and all of that stuff. And I laughed so hard when I was a kid. And as I got older, I went, you know what? Humor, when it's funny, it doesn't go out of style. If it's funny, it's funny.
Exactly.
So when I do bits that they originally came up with, yes, I make sure that I say, Andy Griffith once said, or I met Archie Campbell, who I did meet Archie Campbell from Hee Haw. A lot of people don't know who that is.
I do.
That was my first celebrity I ever met.
That's
And
awesome.
You know how I met him?
You were clogging.
Nope.
Oh.
I went to see a show. And I was sitting there, I was 14, and went, I'd like to meet him in person. And I got up out of my chair, I told my mom I was going to the restroom. I walked around the theater, walked through the back door, and walked up and said, hey, Mr. Campbell, I always wanted to meet you. That was it.
And as a child, no fear.
No fear.
You didn't know what you could and couldn't do.
No,
You just,
I didn't know you weren't supposed to do that. I just did it.
And he didn't tell you weren't supposed to do it, did he?
No. And you know what's interesting? He was standing backstage smoking a cigar in the wings. You could do that back then.
Yeah, back then. So when you were watching these shows growing up, were you one of those kids that watched and said, I want to do that when I grow up? I want to be that when I grow up? Because I was one of those kids.
Were you?
I wanted to be on Hee Haw. I wanted to be on Lawrence Welk. I wanted to be on Donnie and Marie Osmond. I wanted to be one of those bubble dancers. Well, my mom and dad called me Sissy, so I thought I was already made for the part.
Well, I had an older brother and sister, and my brother went into entertainment. My dad used to joke whenever we watched Donnie and Marie or the Lawrence Welk show that he was going to cap our teeth and send us to Hollywood. And, you know, we didn't think anything about it. So, no, I really didn't think I wanted to do that.
It was just entertainment for you.
It was just entertainment. And then when I got in the 8th grade, I had learned some funny songs by going to folk festivals. And I taught these funny songs to some of the girls in the class, and they were my backup singers. So I would sing.
You already had producing in
I
the
didn't
blood,
know. I
already
didn't
had
know.
the directing in the blood. That's awesome.
So I would sing this silly song and go, okay, here's your part. Whenever I say, I know, you go, he knows. And so we would do little songs. People go, Greg knows these stupid little songs. And then my brother got cast in a show at a theme park, and he was getting paid for it. And I went, you can get paid? And I went, that's what I want to do. So
Yeah.
I was 16 when I actually went, no, I want to get paid to be on stage. And I did, even back then, when I got asked to MC a lot of stuff. I've MC'd everything from Miss America preliminary pageants to corn shucking contest, and that's no exaggeration. And when you're an MC, you're not the star of the show, but you have to be entertaining enough to
Keep
make
it
it
moving.
flow. Yes. And so that's when I was going, oh, I heard Jerry Clower tell this joke and people laughed, so I'll tell it, and then they laughed, and I was like, ooh, that was good. And then I started borrowing, but I always gave credit for it.
Sure. And that probably impressed people because you were younger, borrowing, giving the credit, and the fact that you had the memory to keep all of it up there and remember it and not mess it up.
Yeah.
That's a talent, that's a gift.
And then of course, like any entertainer will tell you, things happen. And you're like, oh, that's funny, I'm going to put that in the show.
Sure.
And then I have a mixture of things that actually happened to me.
Yes, your life.
Yes.
Because you've had some amazing adventures.
And I wonder if I actually have amazing adventures, or if they all just astonish me. And I tell, let me tell you, this guy came up with a lollipop. Somebody else might not think anything else about it, but
So Southern humorist, it's great because you live in Florida, but you went to the folk festivals. We don't have those in the Midwest. So you really are a good old boy from the South.
I'm from the South. I'm collard greens eating, grits, and it's not grits, it's grits.
Yeah.
Grits, it's 2 syllables. But yeah, I went to the folk festivals and watched the old timers play the banjo and the guitar and tell these funny folk stories. And I'm like, I want to play the banjo too.
Where was home for you growing up?
Chadbourn, North Carolina.
And where do you now have a theater?
In Chadbourn, North Carolina.
Yeah. So, but you live in
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's neat that you're able to go back to your community and give back to them and provide what you enjoyed growing up, bringing art and talent back to the community.
And this is what I was supposed to do. Oprah Winfrey would talk about that aha moment. And when I bought that, it was literally a farm supply store. When I was a kid, I would go there and they'd have baby chicks and horse feed and fertilizer and nails. And I bought this building. And when I bought it and I went, this is actually going to happen, it went, whoom, this is what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I left Chadbourn and went around all over to learn things and pick them up.
Meet people.
And meet people.
Network.
And then, sorry you got me on a tangent now.
It's okay. It's okay. It's who you are. Our audience enjoys.
So when I went back to Chadbourn and I put everything on Facebook. My life is an open book. You want to know what I had for breakfast? Go to my Facebook page. So when I went there and I said, hey, I'm putting this theater, all of these wonderful people that I've met over the years started calling me and going, I want to perform in your venue in Chadbourn. And I'm like, oh, listen, this is literally like 2 stoplights. And they're like, we don't care, we want to go because it's you. I'm like, well, I can't afford you. And they're like, great.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. So I've been very blessed with that. So.
And you've had some really neat things come from that. We'll save that for another segment.
Okay.
We'll focus back on the comedy because another side of you, besides doing the storytelling and the MC stand-up, you are a celebrity impersonator.
Yes.
Which is another part of your comedy.
Yes.
So you have a whole Santa's world.
I do.
You have, I know that you thought about putting the costume away, but it keeps coming back in demand. You are an Austin Power.
I'm an Austin Powers.
And you even have the teeth.
Yes, I had them made. Yes.
Like we don't see Greg, and that's a true actor. We see a lot of times that if someone says that they're an impersonator, that people automatically
They go, you don't look like anybody.
Okay, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, but if a professional that has a star on Hollywood says it, then they're in a movie and they're winning national accolades and international awards for imitating and impersonating someone that's dead or alive. And so I love the fact that you have been able to fuse all of your interests and talents to showcase them and to teach people in each of the different venues that you work a quality about being a professional entertainer.
There's a trick to it.
There is.
There's a trick to it. And I guess the biggest lesson that I've learned overall is that I don't care how talented someone is, if they don't know how to be a professional, they're useless to a lot of people. They really are. So that's my main takeaway from everything.
And that's a good takeaway.
Yeah.
So let's go back to this folk storytelling.
Okay.
You play instruments.
I do. I play the banjo.
And I think you play with some other things too,
Yeah.
but don't say you play them.
Yeah, I play the ukulele a little bit and the guitar a little bit, but my
I love
main
that, the guitar.
That's not how you say it around here. The guitar. And I play around with it a little bit, but I always go back to the banjo. And there's a difference in banjos. A lot of people don't know this. There's a 5-string banjo and there's a 4-string banjo. And I brought my 4-string banjo with me here, and it was given to me by a good friend of mine who has been here and performed as well.
That's exciting.
Yeah, Monica.
Oh, wonderful.
She gave me the banjo. It belonged to her father.
I remember that now, yes.
Yeah.
That's
so
so
I brought
awesome.
that banjo here, and I'm using it in the show tonight.
And I just got goosebumps because now I know her daddy's going to be hugging us all night long, and you're going to bring a tear to my eye. Oh, my goodness. Oh,
that's unusual. Usually I'm the one crying. I'm a marshmallow, folks.
That is so special.
Yeah, it's really
cool. I love that. Okay, so we
Get it together, come on.
I know, take some breaths, because her daddy's not been gone very long.
No.
And so that's why we're up here talking like this.
Yeah.
And Monica has been on the show, so that's really special.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So then the other thing that you do is you star in a show called the Sweeney Family Band.
Now that's how it originally started out, as the Sweeney Family Band, but we've adjusted our name
Okay.
the last 2 or 3 years to Them Sweeney Boys.
And that makes sense?
Yes. And can I tell you why we changed it? Do you know why?
I already know. It's because as Hicks, you want to look like the boy band of everywhere else, but it can only be them Sweeney Boys.
Sweeney Boys.
And
Well-
it's BOYZ, right?
Well, no, but I thought about doing that. It's funny you said that.
I'm
Great
totally
minds.
teasing.
No, well, the thing was, too, that if somebody didn't know who we were, if they didn't see the picture and get the visual, a lot of times they thought it was a family band where mom might be on the piano and the kids are shaking the tambourine, singing She'll Be Coming Around the Mountains, you know. So,
In 4-part harmony.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
And we've worked with them, and they're great.
So there's a lot to you, and you've already said that you're able to be seen on Facebook. Do you have a web page?
I do. southerngreg.com.
Great.
And all of my material doesn't matter. It's not Southern-based material. It's just that I'm Southern, if you can't tell by the way I talk, you know. So, and this is better
And
than
the
it used to
beautiful
be.
jacket.
Hey, how about this jacket?
I mean, anybody that goes to Nashville, they've got to have some bling.
Yeah.
And some paisley. It's perfect.
Porter Wagner. A lot of people don't know who that was, but he would have been proud of this
Yes,
jacket.
he would. He would. Well, thank you so much for taking time out. I know you're busy getting ready for Comedy Jam that's going to happen this evening, and this beautiful theater is going to be full of people. It's a sold-out show tonight, so we're so excited about that.
Yeah, I'm not nervous at all.
And we want to thank you, and we're going to have you stick around for a commercial intermission, and we'll be back.
Earth Philosophy produces premium wellness and skincare products that are 100% plant-based. In every part of the process, we use environmentally sustainable methods, because in order for the earth to keep us healthy, we have to keep the earth healthy. The plant kingdom provides us with powerful natural oils that activate our body's ability to heal itself. The resulting products are ready to use for wellness, aromatherapy, massage, and skincare. To learn more about Earth Philosophy products and the healing benefits of plants, please visit our website at earthphilosophy.com.
Welcome back to the University of Findlay Art and Culture Show. We are excited to have on set with us Mr. Josh Blue. Welcome.
Well, hello.
Hello. Josh is a stand-up comedian with many accolades to your name. We are so excited to have you on stage with us today in the Marathon Center for the Performing Arts. It's a beautiful facility, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
And it's sold out, so you have a ton of people coming in here to laugh with you.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. We met back in 2006 at a conference with some university students, and they said, we have to have Josh for our comedy jam. And so we got that all booked. We were so excited. We were promoting it, and then you got on Last Comic Standing. That was a show that at that time was running through the summer. But then towards the end of the season, they would do the live shows, correct? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, so it was, it didn't go live till later in the season, but they also extended, the season was so good, they added like 5 more weeks to it.
Because people were watching.
Yeah,
it was so fun.
Yeah, it was a really good season. So.
And so then when the students booked you and you were on there, we were all hanging on and we were voting for you and we were cheering for you. We didn't know that meant we weren't going to get you.
Yeah, definitely blocked me from getting to come do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I had like 35 college gigs booked that I had.
I know, because you blew it out of the water that year.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And so what I told my students was, good for you. You have an eye for talent. The rest of the country agrees with you. So this is not a disappointment. There will be another day that Josh will come. Little did I know that it would not be until 2022.
Yeah, like 16 years later.
A lifetime, no big deal.
Yeah.
Your kids are grown now, no biggie.
Yeah, just like 6 cycles of college students or something.
Exactly, yes. So, but we blink and it's over, and we look back and go, wow, that was fast. So you had the honor of being on another reality television show this past summer.
Just last summer, yeah, America's Got Talent.
And again, you just blew everybody out of the water with your talent. It was so fun to watch you and cheer for you. And with that, what was the difference between that and doing Last Comic Standing?
Well, Last Comic kind of made a little more sense. It was comedians versus comedians. And then America's Got Talent is like comedy versus
everything.
A little girl that can sing Pavarotti, you know? Like, it's like, you know, Last Comic is apples to oranges. AGT is apples to carburetors.
There you go, yes. Was the production quite a bit different too? It seems like there was more glam and more flash and lights with America's Got Talent.
Yeah, I mean, just America's Got Talent is just a much larger show than Last Comic Standing. And, you know, it's a decade and a half since that, so
things had
technology's
changed,
come a long way, and graphics and all that. So, yeah, definitely a much bigger show. So you're lucky I'm here now.
I know, because I didn't think it was going to happen. I saw you take 3rd place, and I was waiting on the phone call saying, he's on national, international tour. I know it's coming. And then I found out you are, but you were kind enough to make this work for us. So thank you.
My pleasure.
That's
I'm glad
awesome.
I could fulfill it.
Yes, thank you. So with your tour now, how many shows are you doing a month? Because I know that they said you are packed.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Last Comic, I've been doing 200 a year. So now that we've added AGT credits to that, it's, I'm working more than enough.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's a gift.
It's awesome. I'm very fortunate to be able to pick and choose at this point. But it's definitely a lot. You know, I'm just looked at my calendar. I'm going to be on the road the next 21 weeks in a row.
Wow. And people don't realize that. They see the glam of Hollywood and the productions of the shows. They'll see that tonight. What they don't see is the sacrifice that it takes, the toll on your body, and not seeing your friends and family on a regular basis.
Sure, yeah, I have 2 kids, so I got So, but I fly every week. I just go to where I got to be and then go home again.
And Colorado's home for you.
I live in Denver, but yesterday I was in LA on the beach, so it's nice to come to Findlay, Ohio.
The frigid Findlay.
-9.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's quite a difference, and it takes a toll on your body sometimes too.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's nice you're willing to put in the work of the travel for us to enjoy the talents of the delivery of your comedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the deal, you know. Got to do it.
So are you doing, another thing that you've shared in some of your sets is that you have been part of the Paralympics. Are you doing anything with the Olympics this season? I know you did Summer Olympics. You were soccer, correct?
Yep, soccer, yeah.
So, but have they contacted you to be part of anything going on here in the U.S., like with send-offs or anything?
Nothing like that. I was potentially going to be we were looking at me being a reporter for NPR, but the funding fell through.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, it would have been cool to go to Beijing, and it would have been fun to be able to interview and do my thing over
Yeah, well, and to be on NPR, that's not someplace I would think of hearing a comedian.
Right.
So that would have been really cool because I listen to NPR to go, hey, I know that voice.
Right, yeah, definitely.
Cool.
You have a voice for radio.
You have a voice for everything. You're just talented.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So with comedy, have you broken out and done any writing? Have you authored anything, or just focus on what you're writing for the stage?
I mean, my main focus is my comedy. I never write like you would think writing. Like, I've never written anything down. I just do it.
Yeah.
I have 6 hours of recorded material, so if you think about that wise, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
material. And I always try to point out, like, just think about writing one joke that was funny every time, and then doing 6 hours of that that's recorded, and not to mention all the jokes, because I don't write it down, that I forgot, that I just never remember to put on a special or whatever. I mean, I have some TV credits, writing, and some movie writing credits, and yeah, so I have some stuff around. I got a book in the works, but it's all a work in progress.
Sure.
Never ending.
Sure. So what is your favorite part of being a comedian? Because each comedian does it just a little bit different. Some have to write down and have it as a script. Others are talented and can improvise a lot. And I know you even did that on AGTS and threw people for a whirl because they thought you were going to go one way and you went another way, and the house lost it. So what's your favorite part about doing live comedy?
Well, it is that playing in the moment and not, like, showing the audience I'm not working with a net where it's like, yeah, I have tried and true material that I know will work, but when something happens in the room and I'm able to respond to that, and it's just as funny as anything else, if not more funny, because it is spontaneous. It's the moment. Like, those are the things I wait for and hope for. Like, and honestly, I like hecklers. Like, my point of view is, if you got the nerve to heckle me, I will verbally destroy you. And I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I had to, at one point recently, I had to, like, check myself, because I was just like, people get up to go to the bathroom, like, what are you doing? Try it. I'm like, just go into the bathroom, let them go, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have to eviscerate them.
So if someone is interested and this is the first time that they're meeting you and they want to connect with you, are you on social media?
Oh yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. They're all Josh Blue Comedy is the handle for those, and yeah, it's all over. Being on AGT just pushed me over 1 million followers on Facebook, which is pretty amazing.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
But I'm most active on Instagram. It's my favorite, just to show my life, you know, on the road, and my kids and my cats and my lady and all that stuff.
Beautiful lady.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tricked her.
You tricked her. How did you trick her? What was the trick?
She thinks I'm smart.
Oh. Well, after I met her, I think you're smart too. Let me tell you, she's awesome. She's beautiful inside and out from the few minutes we've had to talk.
She's a good one.
Yeah,
sure.
that's great. Well, congratulations on everything that is going so well for you. And I've been a fan for many years. I'm so excited for the live show tonight. So excited to introduce you to the community that is the University of Findlay and the city. And we just thank you for being here, and thank you for giving us some of your time to do this interview, to give our students lab time they need. That's awesome.
That I could help.
And we want to thank you, and we will see you in a few minutes after this commercial. Welcome back to the University of Findlay Art and Culture Show. We hope you enjoyed that last commercial. I am so excited that I have one of my all-time heroes on stage with me, Miss Caroline Rhea.
That's so nice.
Oh, it's so true.
I love your curly red hair. I wish my hair looked like
Thank you.
that. Did you like it when you were a kid?
I know, because they didn't have hair products when I was a kid.
I have pictures of me from the 80s, 70s. It is
Frizzed
lateral.
out. Yes.
Because if you brushed it, it just went like.
Well, you remember the little trolls on the pencils, and they'd do this?
course.
They'd go, "Look, Sharinda, it's your hair." So I hated my hair.
Children are so mean.
But then in high school, I was introduced to products.
Yeah.
And then everybody was jealous of my hair.
Yeah, your hair's fantastic. I have a redheaded
you.
sister, and I once decided to dye my hair red. And this man that I was dating, I had these I remember they're called Titian streaks, and I had red streaks. And he goes, "Honey, you got blood in your hair."
Oh,
and I was like,
So that was
he
the
then
end of
also
that.
ordered a steak at a vegetarian restaurant. So
Oh
he
my
was
gosh.
the wrong guy in every
yes,
different way.
yes, that's hilarious. So welcome to Findlay.
Thank you.
We have been trying for 21 years to get you
So
here.
excited I finally made it. You know what? It's so funny because it was I got up this morning. I was in Los Angeles, drove to the airport, flew to Detroit, drove with one arm because I hurt my arm.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was fine though. Lots of people drive that way. I was just paranoid that I was going to turn. And then I got to the town. I saw the beautiful town. And then I was like, oh, this charming little town has an axe throwing.
Yes, and you can drink. You can drink alcohol and then throw the axes.
What is that? You know what it
It's
is?
a big deal.
It's a plague. It's from the Middle Ages. And now there's axe throwing. I feel like get your dragon, cleaned here. It's just crazy.
And we have half a bank.
I know.
Yes.
I said that, yep.
Yep.
5/3, whatever it is.
Fifth thirds, yes. Fifth third
Never
bank.
understood that, and I've seen it for 30 years.
Yeah. Well, and I've got to tell you, years ago, before cable is what cable is now, and now we're not even on cable anymore, we're on our computers, but you did a special in Canada, and because we're right here so close to the border, we got Canadian Broadcasting Television. So I watched your stand-up comedy when it was being aired on
That's funny. I
Canada.
did a special for, I think it was the CBC.
Yes, and I was so
That was a long
mesmerized.
time
I'm
ago.
telling you. So, what do you think of this theater in our
It's
tiny
gorgeous,
little
and I love
town?
your giant sconces. Are you kidding? My favorite place in the world to do stand-up is in tiny little towns in Performing Arts Center. And actually, after the pandemic, my favorite place to do stand-up is anywhere and everywhere.
Sure.
Because I had my daughter at an older age, and I really thought, I'm not going on the road anymore because there's not going to be anything more interesting than she is. And now she's 13, and because COVID is I'm triple vaxxed and I am very careful, as none of us are masked, I literally haven't had this feeling in a long time, race you to the microphone. So
Yeah.
I'm I have fallen in love with
A
stand-up again.
rejuvenation.
Yeah, and I've done a lot in between,
Rebirth.
but it's still my first love.
Yeah. Well, and you're just so naturally talented and good at it. And then you hit the movies.
Yeah.
And let's talk about, because we have a lot of people that follow Hallmark movies.
Oh, that's
and
my favorite
they
movie.
were so excited. They didn't know you as a stand-up comedian, but they knew you as Mrs. Miracle. So I was like, well, if it works, it works. But how fun was that?
It was the craziest. First of all, it was the loveliest experience. I mean,
Now, where did they shoot that?
we shot it in Victoria, Canada, and so many actual miracles happened while we were filming.
Really?
Oh, crazy stories. But Doris Roberts was my beloved friend.
I love
I
Doris.
really thought my dad was going to marry her. They loved each other. She was my real friend.
Real friend,
and,
yeah.
She was filming a Mrs. Miracle movie in Toronto when I was filming another movie, and we saw each other. And so there was a lot of hesitation because she was so wonderful.
Oh, she was
Mrs.
amazing,
Miracle.
yeah.
She was wonderful with everything.
Yep, but she really had that role.
I know.
She owned it.
Yeah, she owned it. You believed her. And so they were like, they were very hesitant because, the Hallmark viewers are also very verbal. And they were so sweet and supportive after the movie. And I just did a Christmas con, and they came up to me and said, they were like, there's only one Doris Roberts, but we loved you. And I was like, oh, phew.
Yeah.
Because I love Doris, so it's not
Yeah.
And I've had that weird thing because I am the original Aunt Hilda, but Lucy Davis also played Aunt Hilda. I always call her the Hilda the Lesser. And I'm the OG, and she's a friend of mine. And she's always like, what does that mean? Was there another Aunt Hilda before me? And I'm like, oh, no.
Deck ya.
So, yeah, I love the Mrs. Miracle movies, and we're doing more, so I'm very excited.
Oh, that I was wanting to ask that. That is
I'd be happy
so
to just
exciting.
do that role for ever.
Yeah.
Honestly. It's
Maybe
so
they'll-
fun. It's like upbeat and uplifting, and it's about faith, and that things will work out, and nobody's doing something horrible. It's nice to be in one of those movies.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
Yeah.
And you have a new audience base.
I do.
So
Who are my real, my ladies, who
Yeah.
are my age and up, so.
and they've got their socks and their wine to go with it. So what else does a woman need, right?
I hope more.
Yes.
At least we all need socks.
Yes. Keep those little tickle toes nice and warm and dry. So with the stand-up, as a female,
Yes.
I don't know how you're going to take this, but somebody just said to me this week, she is this generation of Betty White.
Oh, well, I couldn't take it as a greater compliment.
And I know where they're coming from because you do the shows, the game shows.
Which I love.
And you do so well. Oh my gosh, you and Mr. Baldwin always.
Well, Alec is like a brother to me.
Oh, it's so fun to watch you guys harass each other on that show and try and throw him
See the
off.
roast? Some harassment. Yeah.
Yes. And so you do that, and then you've done sitcoms, and you've done movies, and you're just an American sweetheart, both Canadian and USA, when it comes to being on the stage.
Can I say something funny? When I was on
Absolutely.
this girl, I was sitting next to Jenna Elfman, and this girl said,
Another
I would
fun
like
lady.
to ask a question to America's sweetheart. And we all looked at Jenna, and they were like, Caroline Rand. I was like, I'm America's sweetheart? And that's what they called me on Hollywood Squares.
Yeah.
I was like, I love it.
Yes.
I'm Canadian.
But North American.
I'm North American, yeah.
Yes. So you get to go across countries.
I do. I love your outfit.
Oh, thank you.
You know how I know you're an Aries? It's bedazzly. Anything sparkly, right?
Yes.
Anything
yes.
that's sparkly or says anti-aging.
Yes. There you go. Or anti-fat. In my case, that's the cape today. I was feeling a little bloated.
I'm feeling, oops. There goes my thing.
There goes your protection.
No, it's very glam.
Thank you.
I won't allow women to say bad things about themselves.
We shouldn't.
Ever.
No.
You're gorgeous.
Thank you.
Own it.
I own it.
Own it.
If
If
Caroline
you're
says it,
Own it.
I own it.
You know what? Men say terrible things about women. Let's not be women that say terrible things
Okay.
about women. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm a girl's girl. I remember my therapist 100 years ago said, when you meet a woman, you expect the best in her. Like, she's going to be fantastic. And when you meet a man, you expect nothing. I'm like, maybe a little. Nothing personal.
He wants your autograph. Don't worry about it.
Okay, no problem.
So, with the filming and doing everything that you've done, because you've been doing this a while.
I
You
have.
started when you were
This
2.
is my 33rd year of stand-up.
How has it changed as a woman in the setting? That you've noticed the biggest change over those years? Because you're basically still one of the veterans.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've noticed is that women are, well, I mean, there's a billion hilarious women. They're much more graphic, whereas we were much more into innuendo.
Okay.
Like, I feel like they could do like an anatomical drawing at the end of a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And there's also,
Do you think that's because they're trying to fit into?
I think that there's morphed into like male comedy and female comedy is much closer to each other.
Gotcha.
Then the perspective is you know, solely female and solely male, because, you know, society's changed.
Yes.
So that I think I really see myself as, I think I'm really old school traditional. Like I'm just sort of a joke storyteller. I don't, I've always had this rule, don't really make fun of anyone who's not there to defend themselves.
Sure, sure.
So I was never a queen. I'm not a huge fan of like heavily destructive trashing comedy. I just think it's like a celebration of communication. Like for me, it's an urgent desire to connect with people. Like you're either an extrovert or an introvert. And an extrovert really feeds off the energy of other human beings.
Sure.
And they need other human beings. That's why during the pandemic, I was like,
Yeah.
my daughter's like, you're just not that funny, Mommy. It's just, I can't take it. I go, really? She goes, your sense of humor is a little old.
Oh.
I go, really? Well, I bought everything in this house.
Yeah.
She's hilarious, my daughter. Mommy, if you're walking down the street and you get hit by an ambulance, do they throw you in the back or do they call another ambulance?
That's a good question.
I know.
What was the answer?
I said, I think they would just throw you in the back. She goes, I thought so too. I love you. That's why you just get little drive-bys. Yeah, I think I have such a, like I like people.
Yeah.
That's why I like doing stand-up.
Yeah.
I like actually, a lot of people go out and perform a show.
And then they hide.
Yeah, but to me, I've already made dinner, and you guys are coming for dinner, and then we'll see what kind of a party it is.
Yeah.
It's always different. I
Yeah.
can't do, there are some people who are so good, like, I saw Jay Leno last night, but he had done the exact same act in the summer. And I was like, God, to be able to commit to do it in the same order all the time and make it seem like it's new. I can't do that. I have to add in, like, oh, tonight I'm going to cook with a couple different spices, and
Sure.
I got to make it organic and interesting.
Well, and that's what's so cool about comedy, and that's what I love about the Comedy Jam. We bring in different comedians because some of the audience will love every single one of them.
Right.
Other audience members will really connect with two, not so much another one. And so we're giving them a smorgasbord.
Exactly.
An opportunity to enjoy.
Who performed at your first one?
The first Comedy Jam 21 years ago.
Yes, 21 years ago.
I do not remember. I am so sorry to say. No one has ever asked.
No, I just thought maybe it was like, you know, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
It was somebody important.
Yes,
Now they'll
three
watch
important
this
people.
and I will hear from them, I'm sure. But I honestly can't remember because I was just so excited that we were doing a Comedy Jam.
Was it you? Are you the originator?
Yeah. Well, with the students of that generation. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Started out at the university in a multi-purpose room. And my dream that I shared with them was that it one day be in a theater selling out that didn't exist in Findlay. This just opened 5 years ago.
Wow.
And the generations have
Way to
bought
manifest.
into it. Yeah, we bought into it. And we were the last public show in here when this was a school. And then they closed and demolished and added on the wings in the back and things and took down the school side of things. And then we were the first public show in here when they opened.
Wow.
Comedy Jam.
And you know what? My daughter keeps on getting in bed with me, and then there's like this like divot in my side of the bed, and we have a golden doodle who sleeps like this, and then my daughter sleeps like a sundial and like kicks at me. And I
So
get
hopefully
shoved
you
in
have a
this little
king
divot.
bed.
We do have a king
Good,
bed, and I'm
good.
like over here, and I'm like, oh, so I'm just slightly sore with my injury. Our dog is so cute. You'll hear about my dog tonight.
Thank you for making the sacrifice to be here.
Oh, my pleasure. You know, Mike McDonald was a great, great comedian. Great comedian. Very, very famous Canadian. And he always said, they don't pay us to do comedy. They pay us to leave our family and travel. That's what you get paid for. This part is like,
The fun.
yeah. It's like you walk out and you're like, really? This is my job. Okay.
Well, we are so glad that you have stuck with it and enjoyed it to share your talents for so many generations.
Thank you very much, my fellow Aries, and it's so nice to see you again.
It's so great to see you. And I'll show you the picture from
Okay.
all those years ago. You're going to laugh really hard when you see that.
I love it. The
Because
world-
I'm in sparkles there too.
I'm normally in sparkles. I'm just, these are
Well,
my-
your pants are a little
these are
sheeny.
These are my driving clothes. I do have like a fancy dress for tonight, but I don't know. Does it need to be fancy?
It can be whatever Caroline wants it to be. You can
Whatever
rock
Caroline
it
wants
whatever
it to
you
be, I
want it
love
to
that. I
be.
feel like a diva.
So,
All right. Thank you so much for
Thank
having me.
you. And thank you for tuning in to this art and culture show. We look forward to seeing you the next time. Until then, be well.
UFTV is your university and community TV station.